Good evening and welcome to the Mayor's State of the City Address. My name is Pat Patrick. I get to be the president of the Lodi Chamber of Commerce. I always say I'm honored to hold that position because it's a wonderful city that I work for and a great business community as well. And so before we start tonight's proceedings, I'm going to ask those people here in the audience. We said about 10 people, so the governor should be happy with us. And they've all been temperaturized, and they've all passed that test, and they've all got their masks. And so I'll ask them if they just bow their heads and join me in a word of prayer, and then we'll pledge the flag. Our Heavenly Father, we just thank you tonight for the ability to share the works of the city, the business community, with hundreds of people in their homes. We also thank you for all the blessings that you have given us corporately in this community. There's too many to count, and for that we are very grateful. And we ask that you help us through this coming year, of which we don't know what waits for us, but we know with you and with a positive attitude to improve in every way we can, that we will see it through. In his name we pray. Amen. And if you would, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand, live audience. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, for one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Very good. Have a seat, please. So, I just want to say thank you right off the bat to G-Force Productions and CCT, two chamber member companies. G-Force specializes in making events, of which they haven't had too many, and so now they are experts on streaming, live streaming. And so if you need an organization that can live stream, G-Force Productions are your people. And then to get this message boosted up and into your homes, get the mayor into your living rooms, we relied on CCT Communications. CCT is a data, voice, and internet company, homegrown right here in Lodi, very successful. We'll talk a little bit more about them later on. And so what I would like to really talk to you about is a little history, first of all. In 1926, the Chamber of Commerce shared offices with the city of Lodi at 221 West Pine Street. I have a transom. The Chamber has a transom in its conference room, a leaded, nice over-the-door transom that says Chamber of Commerce. And when you walk into the city council chambers, right overhead, if you look up, is another leaded glass, its twin, that says Council Chambers. And so I can't help but imagine that being right across the hall from each other, the city learned how to, and the business community learned how to work in concert to really build a community that people could prosper in and have a great experience raising their family and living. And so that has to continue if we are to achieve those things, create a great city and the best living and working environment possible for our cities. So a little bit about what we have in store for you tonight. And I'm not saying this just because I'm here tonight. Of all the mayor's State of the City addresses that I've been involved with, which have been quite a few now, I think this should be and is the most uplifting, has some of the biggest wow factors that you're going to see, and we hope inspiring, and most important, will prepare us for what? None of us really knows what 2021 is going to bring our way. But I believe Lodi has already decided it's going to be better than 2020. And you say, well, what gives me this confidence? And I can tell you that businesses, in fact, I will show you in just a few minutes how businesses are coming back stronger and preparing for 2021 by being bolder, by being more creative, and finding new and different ways to do tomorrow. So I know many businesses are deciding to come back that way. I talk to them all the time. Let me give you some examples, because these are businesses, these are attitudes, if you will, that a setback is a setup for a comeback. And we are ripe for a comeback. And I think with all that the mayor has to share with you tonight, you'll be blown away. So, have you been to the Brick House? There's two brothers that are the owners, Gino and Franco. And if you go back in time, when the state closed all the restaurants down, it put them out of business, obviously, right? We all know that. Well, Gino picked up the phone and he called me and he said, Pat, I need your help on something. I've got an idea. So he explained the idea to me, and he asked me for a list of large employers that are still working, essential workers, if you will, right? And so with his idea, I was more than happy to supply him with that list. His idea was boxed lunches delivered to these employers. And if you'll think back, the grocery shelves didn't have anything for sandwiches. They were out of peanut butter, they were out of tuna fish, they were out of just about everything. Cheese and crackers, too. And so Gino and his brother Franco came up with box lunches that could be pre-ordered, 3 or 4 different selections, and they would deliver them to the business. It exploded. They did hundreds of box lunches every day to people like Costco, people like Home Depot, as well as a dozen others, larger businesses. That's what we call a pivot, right? A pivot. Not being able to do business like you have done, but change and do something completely different. He used that asset, that brand new kitchen. The Grape Festival grounds, right here where we are broadcasting from, we're told you can't have any events. Events is their business. And so when the Grape Festival couldn't hold the fair, right, or any other weddings or large events, it really put a financial strain. Mark Armstrong, the executive director, took on at the other end of the Grape Festival grounds for where we are, is an empty grass field. He turned that into a drive-in movie lot on Fridays and Saturday nights. Now, for those of us who are maybe over 40, remember how fun those could be on a date. I'll just leave it with that. Okay. But it's been a huge success. And another home run that they've had was, if you can't come to the fair and eat what you love, funnel cakes, corn dogs, tacos, why not drive through and get those things? So they had a 3-day event, and he made a lot of money. Mark is a smart, creative fellow that could make lemonades out of those lemons. And they were so successful that it's coming back again November 13th, 14th, and 15th. And so if you are craving funnel cakes, you know where to go. His creativity, his experience won the day. I see that happening, creative thinkers in the Kiwanis Club too. And so what they have done is they now run the Lodi Light Parade, and what they've been able to do is to take a hint from Mark here at the Grape Festival grounds, and they're going to, instead of, we can't have a regular light parade with rows of people on the sidewalks 5 and 6 deep. That's not social distancing, right? And so you can stay in your car and drive through the light parade. You're in the car, so put all sorts of lights on your car, fill it up with your family. When you come in, you'll be told what radio station you can turn to, and you'll be hearing Christmas music. And then, yes, you can stop and order some fair food and pick it up 2 stops down and wander through. And that's going to be on Friday night and Saturday night, December 11th and 12th. So pack your cars and head out. So thank you, Kiwanis, for keeping that loved event happening. You're welcome. That's a Kiwanian over there, I hear. So that brings me to, right before I introduce Daniel Walcott, it brings me to I think, our greatest challenge in 2021. For me, for you, for everyone. So let's see if I can bring up this slide. So this is our moment in shared history. And if you're too far away to see that first number, it says 10%. That's the number on the left. And the number on the right, I know you can see. This is our greatest challenge. And how we manifest those 2 numbers in our lives will be the stories that we tell 10 years from now about 2020 and what lies ahead of us. Because this is true, those 2 numbers are true for every single one of us. Life gave us a pandemic in 2020. Life happens to us all. Life is only 10% of what happens to you, what happens to me, what happens to everyone. Only 10% is what happens to you. Life, it's not determined by what's happened to you. Your life is not determined by what happens to you. But 90% of life is determined on how you respond to what happens to you. To let that sink in, the beauty of that is that you decide how to respond. When faced with a challenge, you decide how to respond, how you will overcome it, how you'll work around it, how you'll get out from under the circumstances, and then crawl on top of them and stand tall. And when I think of somebody facing a huge challenge, I think of this next speaker, Daniel Walcott. Daniel led his team through the days of 2020. Can you imagine how many truly frightening hours of personal thoughts and literally the thought of facing life and death, real fear in each employee, how that could be and how that could work on your team's performance. It could break individuals, it could break an entire hospital staff. But their attitude was that together we'll beat this. And in doing so, together, they forged Adventist Health, Lodi Memorial's corporate character. The team at Adventist Health, Lodi Memorial, and later Dameron knows they are ready and able to face anything, proving that they are made for more than COVID. So if I could ask you here to welcome President and CEO of Adventist Health, Lodi Memorial, Daniel Walcott. Yay!
Good evening. It's a privilege to be here and to speak about this life and times that we're in, and to partner with Mayor Doug Keene and the City of Lodi and Pat Patrick and the Chamber of Commerce in talking about what is good about Lodi, what's hopeful about our future. So Pat queued this up in talking about the amazing people who work at Adventist Health Lodi Memorial. And I serve beside about 1,200 absolutely amazing people. When COVID came, at first I think we all thought, well, this is, I'm not sure this is that much. And then we thought, okay, we really need to pay attention. And I got on the phone and talked to Steve Schwabauer at the city and talked to the mayor and talked to all kinds of people and said, we need to take this seriously. People are dying. And so out came the masks and the order from the governor to close us down, and we can all argue about, whether we've overreacted or underreacted. But fortunately, we didn't have a lot of people die in March and April and May. And then along came June. And all of a sudden, one weekend, we went from 2 or 3 COVID positive patients to 6, and then 8, and then 10, and then 25. And we peaked at about 45 COVID positive patients in the house at any given moment, and we treated well over a couple hundred COVID positive patients. And we saw people start dying. When I went up to the ICU at one point, I'm talking to the nurses, gowned out from head to toe, and they are safe when they're that way. And they told me the thing that's tough about COVID is that these patients aren't getting better. They come, and they get sicker, and they get sicker, and they get sicker, and many of them die once they get to the ICU. And for an ICU nurse, usually a patient comes, they're sick, we do the right thing, they get better, and they go home. And so it was just really hard. So our team, during that peak time, we had folks who were gowned out in full PPE for 8 to 10 out of their 12-hour shift, living inside that hot protective equipment. And they did that day in and day out, because they were called to a purpose that was on behalf of the people in our community. And so I'm incredibly proud of the amazing people at Adventist Health Lodi Memorial and every other healthcare institution in this great country who dedicated their lives to service during this pandemic. At this moment in time, we're seeing a little bit of an uptick again in our county. I know it can be tempting. I have teenagers. It can be tempting to begin to be a little less careful. If we're less careful, we will end up shutting back down. And it will save lives to do that. And I don't want that to happen. So my request to this community is to be diligent, pay attention, make sure that you are using the proper hygiene techniques, washing hands, staying 6 feet apart, using your mask when you're in public. It truly is an important factor. Even if you don't believe all of the issues related to COVID, it's an important factor in protecting our community and keeping the expectation high, because the fact is people are dying. I know of way too many people who have died of COVID, and people who didn't have to die of COVID. These weren't just sick, elderly people. These were people who were very much alive and had much life in front of them, and there's no reason to die from this situation. So pay attention. Use the protocols that we've been asked to use, and let's be safe so we can keep our community and our economy open. So our staff at Adventist Health is made for more than just treating COVID. And it's really, really important that every person in this community accesses preventive health care and ongoing routine health care. We cannot afford to have people dying of heart disease and stroke and regular chronic diseases that are easily treatable, and we've seen people die of those because they're not getting treated because they're afraid of COVID. Especially in the early stages, we had way too many people. And if you talk to the emergency medical personnel in this county, we have seen way too many people die of sudden cardiac arrest in their house because they were afraid to call EMS to go to the hospital. So please, please, please don't delay your care. We've seen examples of people delayed cancer treatment, delayed stroke care because they were afraid of COVID. Please, 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 we can keep you safe at the hospital. Your doctor is still there and able to take care of you. Do not delay your care, because we do not want any more unnecessary suffering than we're already having during this pandemic. Our team at Adventist Health is ready. The teams at the other healthcare institutions in our community are ready to take care of you. We do not want you to suffer because of this. We are made for more than COVID. So Our community is made for more than COVID. Our city, our Chamber of Commerce, I'm just thankful for Pat Patrick and the leadership that he has showed during this time related to our business community, helping, partnering to make sure that our businesses can thrive as much as possible during this time. I love that statement that he said earlier. We're seeing that COVID is a setback, but it's really just a setup for a comeback. And we can and will come back stronger from this than we were before. I know that Pat and others are going to talk about the Chamber's initiative, the balanced approach to partnering in our community to improve business, to improve health, and to improve this as a place to raise a family. And we've called that Grow in Lodi. And your hospital is committed to partnering in that area. If your business is not partnered up with the Chamber and the American Heart Association on a workplace health initiative to improve and be certified as a certified workplace, healthy workplace, link up. We have created a pathway for your business to be able to be certified as a healthy workplace, and we can make sure that you're creating an environment for your people, and we've got that partnership ready to go. American Heart Association has tools and people that can help you make that happen. Our business community is certainly made for more than COVID. We've seen, and Pat's told us some stories about people who have overcome, but we need to get back to regular business as well. And so I'm thankful that our city and our chamber is partnering to make that happen on behalf of our business owners, their employees, and our customers. Many of you know that I announced a week or so ago that I will be taking a position with Adventist Health in Kern County near Bakersfield. And so I'm going to be leaving this community. I've been privileged to serve here for 5 years, and I hate to leave. This is a great community. When I came to this community and was called to serve here because of Adventist Health's partnership with Lodi Memorial Hospital, I came because of our mission. Our mission says that we're here to live God's love and inspire health, wholeness, and hope. And that means that we're here for more than just the care of sick people. We're here to partner with our community to create wholeness and hope. And the verse in Scripture that my mind is called to and I continually go back to comes from the book of Jeremiah 29, verse 7. It says, "Seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I've called you, for when it prospers, you too will prosper." And that calling has caused me to engage deeply in this community in a way that I believe is changing and has changed lives. And I'm thankful that our mission calls us to that. And my challenge to the community leaders, to everybody watching this, to people in this room, is do not step back from this challenge to make sure that this community continues to shine its light and to be a great place to live and work. Thank you for the privilege of serving beside each and every one of you.
Okay, so I have a very colorful presentations tonight. So my blue slide deck that you saw earlier are now going to turn into purple slide deck. That's a cue, right, to somebody in the back to bring those things up. There it is. And so I want to talk to you about some more incredible businesses and what I like to call sponsors who deserve our thanks. They're all people with great gratitude. And attitude, rather. I have the gratitude. They have the attitude. Waste management. Now, I don't know what you know about waste management, but they have been chosen to be the stewards of the world and the earth. They have to recycle things that we used to send abroad over to China, who would take the things that we didn't have the technology to actually know how to recycle. And so the state of California, in its wisdom, said, do it. Or else. And so they have spent millions and millions of dollars learning how to do that, and they need help. And help is what we have to do when we fill our own waste cans and recycle cans. They have spent thousands of dollars in 2020 trying to help actually save us money. And so we're a partner with them on that. We have done that at the farmers market this year and on our website and in a lot of our communications. And so F&M Bank is another one. If you'd hold that, there you go, thanks. F&M Bank helped the federal government relieve some pressure that was caused by the pandemic. We obviously know this. They made 1,500 PPE loans, and this statistic is actually a little light. 1,500 loans, $360 million. Federal assistance to stem the tide in red ink caused by the pandemic. So F&M Bank, they were busy in those days. I remember those. And CCT, Telecommunications, a local communications company, which I've already mentioned, developed protocols for their salespeople who called on businesses and customers, residential customers, prior to the state giving out those protocols. They developed them, made their customers feel safe. Sales increased in 2020. Adventist Health, Lodi Memorial, we just heard from Daniel, made for more than COVID. During this time, they expanded health care, not only in Lodi, adding more programs and services, but also moved to do the same thing at Dameron Hospital and grew what they do throughout San Joaquin County. And then there's Flip. Who here in the audience knows about Flip? Okay, Flip. Flip-office.com. I thought the best way to explain Flip is to show you exactly what they do. Flip will, this is an example. They come into the Alliance Insurance company in Novato, 710,000 square foot facility with furnishings from 2,200 employees. Now, somebody can check me out on my math, but I think that's pretty close to 19 football fields worth of square feet. Okay, and so that's what they showed up there, and that's what it looked like. You can imagine what 2,200 employees use in terms of files, cabinets, a desk, et cetera, et cetera. And when they left, it looked like that. Where did it all go? Went into about 50 truckloads, about 50 truckloads, and some went to recycle, and some went to a different place, and some came to Stockton, California, at a 40,000 square foot warehouse and showroom of Flip. I don't know why this thing jumps. Look, here's my thumb. It won't jump anymore. Okay. So I know you probably can't see this very well, but you should go see it live in person. They have incredible furniture there. They have a big showroom. It's a huge distribution center. It's down at the port in Stockton. Got to go. And you can tell a lot about a business by who they associate with, right? Who trusts them? National clients, Adobe Systems, Bank of the West, Intel, Wells Fargo, Oracle. You've heard those names, I know, right? How about locally? St. Joseph Hospital, F&M Bank, UOP, Wine and Roses, Duraflame, Cepheid, and Oak Ridge, many, many more. Now, they just don't move furniture, pick it up, and redistribute it. Okay, look. All right. Okay, design and planning. Whether it's an office, whether it's a new design, whether it's a rehabilitation of your old office space, they'll come out, they'll do the CAD designs, the renderings, the specifications, and set it up, whether it's at your business's office or your home office. That's Flip. And last but not least, Sanborn Chevrolet. Next year, celebrating 50 years in service to Lodi. And this year, they were our presenting sponsor at the Lodi Farmers Market. Richard started that some 50 years ago, and Kenny, his daughter, is now the president, and also on the board of directors of the Lodi Chamber of Commerce, which we're proud to have. That brings me to this gentleman. And that would be our police chief, Sierra Brusa. Each year, the mayor selects those who he would share the podium with because he wants you, the people at home and here in the audience, to know exactly from the experts what's going on. That was Daniel from the hospital and Sierra from the police department. And so Doug chose Sierra, our new police chief, now in just starting his 7th month, but 2020, I think, has given him years of experience. 15 protests in a very short period of time, and marches, and all the pressure of learning a new job. Also, in the crosshair, also, while police departments across our nation are under scrutiny in the public eye and in the crosshairs of some, with cries of defund the police, even some here in Lodi, how does Lodi PD stack up in terms of fairness, with treatment for all people? What are the policies, the measures the Lodi PD uses to make sure justice is upheld, but done so with respect for one's dignity and safety? Chief Brusa will now come and address how he does all that in a program called 8 Can't Wait. Help me welcome Sierra Brusa, our Lodi Police Chief.
So good evening. So for those of you that don't know me personally, and thank you for the introduction, Pat, my name is Sierra Brusa, and I am honored to have been selected as Lodi's newest police chief. I've spent my entire 26-year career here with the Lodi Police Department, and I'm proud to call Lodi home. Taking over a police department in the middle of a pandemic has presented a unique challenge. Couple this with the economic uncertainty and social unrest facing our nation, and the challenges we face increase each and every day. I would like to take a few moments to share how the police department has responded to these challenges and provide some context as to where we go from here. I'm often asked why we have allowed the protesters to take the street. The answer is multifaceted and varies from protest to protest. I think it's first important to know that we are not allowed to declare an unlawful assembly and order people to disperse on pain of arrest for vehicle code violations. Courts have been very protective of free speech rights, even to the point of prohibiting the use of arrest powers for these kinds of violations. The more nuanced part is related to our tactical judgment. Does the officer feel the potential for violence or conflict between contesting groups is lower if the street is used? Will the protest be less disruptive over the course of the day if the street is used? All of these factors go into those decisions. And I ask you to judge our success based on what has happened in our community compared to many others. I'm very proud to lead the officers who have indeed kept the peace in Lodi during these very contested times. Our proactive approach in meeting with the organizers of the recent protests and working jointly with them has ensured that no arrests have been made, no property damage has been reported, and no serious violence has occurred. The most common question I receive, however, is what our department is doing about the recent protests in Lodi. Our first priority is to provide for the safety of all of our residents while ensuring everyone is afforded their constitutional rights. In speaking with the organizers of many of these events, it is clear that we need to engage one another to bridge the gaps between us. Our department takes a proactive approach to address those gaps. We utilize a community-oriented policing philosophy, and we have for the better part of 3 decades. Our department's ACE vision focuses us on connecting with our community and evolving with current policing trends. We also have significant relationships with service organizations dedicated to ending racism and disparate treatment in our community. Our hiring practices are designed to select candidates with character and integrity. We then monitor and guide these employees so that they consistently make good decisions and represent our community with pride. Our employees are true professionals who take pride in providing police services to our community. The officers of the Lodi Police Department are just as disappointed as you are when we see officers not living up to their oath and the commitment they made to their communities to serve with integrity, compassion, empathy, and character. Before I came here today, I checked our yearly arrest and citation numbers. This is something that we monitor regularly, and I can tell you that they mirror the ethnic makeup of our community. I would also like to share that our department is extremely proactive in training our officers in principled policing philosophies, such as procedural justice and identifying our own implicit biases. We know that there is room in policing for discretion, empathy, and restorative justice. A common request at protests, both here and across the country, is that police departments adopt the 8 Can't Wait campaign. Very briefly, this campaign urges police departments to ban chokeholds, require de-escalation, require a warning before shooting, exhaust all alternatives before shooting, institute a duty to intervene, ban shooting at moving vehicles, require a use of force continuum, and require comprehensive reporting. I eliminated the carotid hold from our policy earlier this year as it had been proven to be ineffective. I am, however, proud to say we had rarely ever used it. And when it was allowed, we'd rarely used it when it was allowed, but we have been following all the other guidelines for the last several years. Our officers receive extensive de-escalation implicit bias training. Whenever feasible, officers are expected to provide a warning before using deadly force. We train to use the least amount of force necessary in all arrest situations. Our officers are expected to intervene and report if they witness any misconduct. We do not train to shoot at moving vehicles, and we do not allow shooting to disable a vehicle. We track and report all firearm displays with a comprehensive use of force reporting system, and we provide our officers with as many tools as possible to choose from so that when de-escalation does not work, they have non-lethal options at their disposal. Our department currently has 71 officers and is working towards getting to our allotted 77 authorized positions. To that end, Measure L has been a tremendous resource for our department. It has allowed us to increase our staffing numbers to meet the law enforcement needs of our growing city. It has also provided us with the vehicles and equipment such as radios and computers needed to provide those services. Much as it has disrupted your lives, COVID-19 has impacted our department in a significant way. As you have noticed, our public buildings, including the police department, are closed. This is to prevent the spread of COVID. We take the COVID recommendations seriously, and to date have only had one employee test positive for the virus. We have, however, increased our online reporting and telephone services so that we can continue to meet our community's needs. The Lodi court has closed, which impacts the crimes that are prosecuted here and requires our officers to travel to Stockton for court and French Camp to book arrestees. We are, however, hopeful that by January of 2021, both our court and our jail will be able to be fully open. The challenges our profession faces are real. However, our department is prepared to meet them. Our employees are encouraged to consistently look for ways to improve our department and the community we serve. As a result, many of the police department's programs have started with ideas from line-level employees. Project Lifesaver, for example. This program is free to our citizens and enables parents to request GPS tracking of their children who suffer from autism and routinely wander away from their homes. A special thanks to Hetty Stillman for bringing that program to our citizens. Our principled policing training program was developed by Mike Minetti and Steve Nelson when they saw a need to be progressive in finding better ways to interact with our community. These are just two examples of how our employees continually strive to make our department the best it can be and provide the community with the best police services possible. With all that being said, it's important to note that policing is a partnership between our department and the community that we serve. Your needs and expectations play a large role in how we develop our training and our tactics. Going forward, you can expect the highest level of transparency from our department, a continued emphasis on community-oriented policing, an openness to evolving in policing and police leadership, and a commitment to ensuring that our public safety and security is our #1 focus. All of our policies and trainings are available on our website for you to review. We have an Office of Professional Standards to ensure our employees are meeting the high expectations and standards of the department and our community. We have a clear and simple internal affairs process so complaints can be investigated thoroughly. All of our uses of forces are reported, tracked, and reviewed. We utilize an early warning system to identify and prevent officers from exceeding their authority. We wear body-worn cameras, and we audit their footage. We also share that body-worn camera footage with our trainees so we can utilize it like game tape to make improvements in their performance. My expectations for our department are clear. We expect sound decision-making, the highest integrity, an emphasis on education and development, and service with empathy. Our employees, they do the right thing at the right time and for the right reasons. And it's for those reasons that I'm proud to have been selected as the next chief of the Lodi Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, and so my promise is to continue to tell you good stories about businesses that are coming back to terms with these new days and making things better, exhibiting creativity, boldness, and that ability to turn and pivot and help their endeavor successfully. The perfect example of this is the forward-thinking folks at Kettleman Station. A family-owned commercial shopping center on East Kettleman Lane saw an opportunity in the face of the pandemic challenge. They decided to transform their 40-year-old commercial strip into a family-oriented center, health, family products, and services. Look at that. Now imagine you're driving east on Kettleman Lane, and you've gone past Pietro's, and you pull up at the stop sign. What's on your right? The stoplight there at Central, Kelly-Moore Paint. Look what you're going to see now. This is incredible. And it doesn't stop. It just gets better and better. The scheduled completion is spring of 2021. It's going to be a facelift for the whole center. Restaurants, home improvement, personal care, workforce services, including newly completed Clear Suites, which are a very modern executive office suites. With this great makeover, they're becoming a destination. That's what their goal is, to become a destination in what was once called the East Side, we call the Heritage District, helping by not only improving their own property values, but anything around them in the neighborhood. Value is going to increase. Look for a lot more from this group as they begin doubling down on the future of Lodi in other locations. And I wish I could tell you where, but I can't right now. Okay, so we have some other event sponsors tonight that also have done great things for the community in this year. And so the first one, I believe, is Wells Fargo. There it is. Wells Fargo postponed mortgage payments for 6 months for many different businesses, the Chamber of Commerce being one, for which we are truly grateful and humbly thank them. And next is Pacific Coast Producers. PCP is a leader in so many categories and so many business categories. They're at the forefront of their industry, canning, and they distribute their our Valley's food products and products from the Northwest completely throughout the country and around the world. But yet, they are also providing workplace health solutions, as Daniel mentioned earlier, with the American Heart Association. They value their employees. Any business's greatest asset is their employees, and so they're taking great care of them. And next is Harrah's, Northern California. This is a new business in our region. Harrah's has become a major community partner in Ione and the surrounding foothills. They have brought hundreds of needed jobs and are still looking for people who want to work. And so the next slide is Bull Barbecue Products. I don't know if you're familiar with this organization, but Bull is the Lodi is the home office and corporate office of this worldwide distributed product, making the finest barbecue grills in the world, one of the first ones to actually enter the market for barbecue islands. And next is Her Life. Her Life magazine, also a sponsor of this event and others. The Lodi-based magazine is the North Central Valley's premier publication for women. And what I like to say is you can find beauty on every page. And so with that, I think I get to bring up our mayor, finally. Yes, I do. Doug Keene has had a remarkable life. He possesses a world of experiences and has traveled all over the world, as far as I know. He keeps bringing up places where he has been. I know him to be an expert on life's experience, a successful business owner, a recognized leader in his business's industry, also a man of faith, happily married, and has a loving family. But perhaps his most endearing attribute here tonight for us all is his servant's heart. He loves Lodi and gives a tremendous amount of time, hard work, and puts long hours in. He loves the work, and I know he's good at it. Citizens should know it's a lot more than 2 city council meetings a month. It's much, much more. Like me, like you, Mayor Doug has had a challenging and a tough year. A mayor's challenge, however, is played out on the front page of the newspaper and various social media sites, which are often not kind nor factual. He has come through this tough year in a way all Lodi should appreciate. You're about to see and better understand the value of the product of this year's work. As Doug shares, it is massive in scale, and it sets Lodi up for many good years ahead. He is a mayor which we can be proud of. I give you our 2020 mayor, Mr. Doug Keene.
Thank you so much, Pat. Welcome to the Mayor's State of the City Address. I would like to thank the Lodi Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event virtually this year. I would also like to thank my wife. Without her support, I would have not survived this grueling year. The title for my talk tonight, Hope Through the Hard Times. When this year began, I was giddy with excitement what 2020 would hold for our city. To start the new decade off as the mayor of the city I love and have called home for 35 years. Then a global pandemic started, and businesses were told they would temporarily have to close in preparation, mine included. Record numbers of people filed for unemployment. People across the world began to die by the thousands each day because of this virus. The scale of the loss and common experience is something none of us has gone through in our lifetimes. Couple that with the presidential election year and the political divisions that have ensued, then the public death of George Floyd and the deep scars of racism led to massive civil unrest, resulting in 13 protests in Lodi this year, with over 1,500 people participating in those protests. That's a record-breaking number for our city. Thank you to our Lodi Police Department. One act of property damage or vandalism took place during these protests. They kept our city safe while allowing people to express their First Amendment rights. As a result of the virus, our governor began releasing inmates at an unsustainable rate. This only exacerbated the growing population of homeless people on our streets. As a result, at one point, the state had over 500 fires burning at one time. It was as if the whole state was engulfed with flames. The air quality became hazardous to your health. It was as if the sky was reflecting the fear and anxiety many of us felt. Thank you to our firefighters who responded to the call for help to put out those flames. One of my most favorite things about the role of mayor is getting to interact with citizens at their events. This year changed that too. Not only did we have very few events to go to, if we had one, all I could do was just drive by and wave, taking the cameo appearance to a whole new level. Well, as you can guess, my excitement began to fade. Then there was the murder hornet and the disease-causing mosquitoes. To top it off, there was a shortage of coins. Could this year get any worse? Don't get me started on the Zoom. Excitement turned to responsibility. The responsibility to listen to everyone's fears and to build constructive ways to move forward. I am incredibly proud of the strides for betterment in our city that our city staff has made this year. And yes, there is hope in the hard times. I'm going to take you on a tour of Lodi now and what we've done in the city this last year. I'm going to start off with Zupo Field. It was burnt down last year by a couple of juveniles. This year, with tremendous community support and funds from the insurance company, the City Council unanimously voted to rebuild it. Lockford Street was rebuilt. We were able to save those beautiful old trees, removed those large bumps getting onto Lockford Street. We added bike lanes, sidewalks, and landscaping, making the entry to our downtown area more appealing. The Highway 99 and Turner Road exit will be redesigned with a roundabout allowing two-way traffic flow. This will help alleviate traffic through our residential streets and by Lawrence Elementary School. One of the features for the roundabout could be a piece of artwork, like Celebrate the Harvest, which is in front of the Lodi Chamber of Commerce. We're not going to move it, we're going to build another one. Or we could put a gateway sign there. We need to enhance the entrance to our beautiful city. Let's move over to Victor Road and Guild Avenue, where Cepheid is located. Cepheid is the third largest company in the world to develop a rapid response test kits for the COVID-19 virus. In the third quarter of this year, they manufactured 7 million of these test kits and shipped them out. Their fourth quarter projections are 8 million test kits. Hold on, my phone is ringing. I think I've got some breaking news. Let me share that with you. It looks like the governor just released a press release, and Cepheid is going to receive $20 million tax credit. That's incredible. Moving on with Cepheid, they also have developed a 4-in-1 test kit. It will be for the COVID-19 virus, RSV, flu A, and flu B. As we approach flu season, it will be important for our hospitals to know which one of these you have. Their plans for expansion are incredible. They will be removing 2 buildings where the old Blue Shield campus used to be and building a 175,000 square foot manufacturing building. They have also purchased 2 other buildings in the industrial area for R&D and more manufacturing. Staff estimates this will bring about 500 new jobs to Lodi. Vaz Brothers, right down the other end of Guild Avenue, built a 400,000 square foot building and have added more employees as well. Near that Vaz building on Kettleman Lane, we have one of our new hotels, True by Hilton. Let me take you over to the Heritage District. Phase 8 of the water meter program is a $5 million project, and this is the last phase of the residential water meter program, about 10 years ahead of schedule. They've installed 875 water meters and replaced 3.5 miles of undersized water main. As you can imagine, These are some of the oldest pipes in our city and have desperately needed to be replaced. We've added another $1.4 million for resurfacing over 1.4 million square feet of residential streets located primarily in the Heritage District. We plan on investing another $210,000 next year for the reconstruction of alleys, mainly located in the Heritage District. Let me take you over to Blakely Park. Blakely Park will receive a new restroom near Stockton Street to replace an old restroom that has been out of service since 2004 because of vandalism. But that's not the worst part. That bathroom was over 70 years old and needed to be replaced. Upgrades to the park include renovating the pool, new shade structures, and updating the sports fields. This park has received $1.9 million in state grant funding and direct city investments for facility improvements that support youth and family recreational opportunities. And I am proud to say that during my term as mayor, we have invested over $6 million in the Heritage District. Let me give you some continuity. That is slightly less than what we've spent in the last 5 years combined. In the Reynolds Ranch area, let's go over there now. We have 2 more new hotels by Marriott, Candlewood and Fairfield Inn and Suites. The Fairfield Inn has already become an award-winning hotel for sanitization and service. I was just there this morning. It's a beautiful facility. Also in the Reynolds Ranch area, we have 2 market-rate apartment complexes. Rubicon is already finished and has 156 units, and La Vida is almost complete with another 150 units. We have also added more senior housing in that area. Revel is a luxury complex with a chef on staff, and it's almost fully occupied with 142 units. And Oakmont Memory Care is scheduled to open soon with 88 rooms. Our final subdivision in the Reynolds Ranch area has been approved with 150 medium-density homes to be built. Let me move you down Harney Lane to South Hutchins Street. I just want to take a moment here to thank our service clubs in Lodi. This city is rich with volunteers, donating tens of thousands of dollars each year to our parks, nonprofit organizations, schools, youth leadership training, college scholarships, and low-income families' medical procedures. These clubs paid for that gateway sign and arbor at that location 40 years ago. I am proud to be the past president of the Greater Lodi Kiwanis Club. My fellow council member and past mayor, Mark Chandler, is a Rotarian. Our former mayor, Phil Panino, is a member of the Lions Club. You see, giving back to the community is a hallmark of leadership. Lower Sac and Harney Lane, let's move down there now. There have been 160 homes built this year on 10 different sites. The primary builders on this location at Lower Sac and Kettleman Lane in Harney are KV Homes, FCB, and Elliott Homes. These builders have provided the city with 2 new parks. We have 2 new restaurants in the Walmart and Target shopping centers, Raising Cane and Black Bear Diner. Our own Lodi Electric Utility provided more hope through the hard times. Lodi Electric Utility had its own stimulus package. Thanks to our electric utility that is 110 years old, 23,000 homes received a $50 credit on their electric bill in April. That adds up to $1.3 million. And the commercial and industrial users got $1.7 million credit at the same time. We also enhanced our ability to give discounts to our sick and elderly customers with more CARES Act funding. Lodi Electric Utility has $374,000 in our solar and energy rebate programs for businesses and residential. If you're thinking about solar, now's the time to do it. Also, Lodi Electric Utility has installed a new electronic outage system with robo notice. This is really important to our plastic manufacturers. It is time consuming and labor intensive for them to try and remove cold plastics from those machines when manufacturing is stopped all of a sudden. Let's move down to Kettleman Lane and DeVries Road on the southwest corner. We have designated this site for Lodi's new commuter rail location. EIR work is about to get started. Well, let's go off to Sargent Road in Lower Sac. You may have noticed that Rosegate 2 is under construction. At build-out, there will be 250 low-density homes, 95 medium-density homes, and 180 high-density units. Well, I anticipated it. Too much growth, you say. Lodi has a 2% growth cap. With all of this growth, we only have a little over 1% growth this year. I sure am glad we have Lodi Lake to go to. During these hard times, the use of our lake is at an all-time high. We now have seen 45% gate increase this year. My wife and I have launched our kayak there more this year than we ever have in the past. Let me just go downtown. Businesses are expanding in our downtown core, and new ones are opening up. Dancing Fox will be expanding. Lodi Beer Company's expansion is almost complete, and Oxford's Gastropub is still moving forward. Mimosas and Brick House have opened this year, and Papa Pavlov's and the bowling alley are scheduled to open soon. Who would have known our downtown core would have a French influence on it, with over 21 restaurants, bars, and wine tasting rooms going al fresco. This was done with no permitting fee from the city, and barriers were placed in the streets to protect the patrons at no charge. Thank you to our Community Development Department and Public Works for making this happen. We have 5 restaurants in Lodi participating in the Great Plates program, which is funded by federal, state, and local government, serving our most vulnerable citizens, the elderly and the sick. They get 3 hot meals a day delivered to their door. Over 178,000 meals have been delivered so far to more than 400 of our residents. Total cost for this program to date is $3.9 million. Now that's a stimulus package. The 5 restaurants participating are Brick House, Dancing Fox, Lodi Beer Company, Zen Bistro, and the Village Coffee Shop. I don't know if you knew this, but Brick House was the first in our county to participate in this program. Lodi had the first in the county free COVID testing site at the Lodi Public Library. Daily capacity there is 132 people. Samples collected so far are over 12,000, and turnaround time is about 2.5 days. But the library is still operating, providing curbside pickup and drop-off. And the city is still fully operational. The Community Development Department and Public Works have provided a safe and secure place for you to drop off your plans outside. The city received a state grant to place sanitizing stations and porta potties at Chapman Field to help with our homeless issues. Our focus when dealing with the homeless has garnered the attention of other cities. We have a full-time community liaison officer and a mental health professional focusing on that people group. Our approach is threefold when dealing with the homeless here in Lodi. 1, educate. Offer and inform them of various resources that might help them. 2, encourage. It takes 10 contacts before they will consider utilizing the resources available to them. 3, enforce. If educating and encouraging is not effective, we do enforcement. Let's talk about the formally homeless for a moment. There's a tiny home project called Harmony Homes, and it has found a spot to be located near Smart and Final on Lodi Avenue. These 4 homes will be built for graduates of the Salvation Army, Lodi House, etc. The Lodi Homeless Committee determined a couple of years ago that we had a lack of transitional housing for these graduates. Once they completed their programs, they had nowhere to go. They needed a place to stay for 6 to 12 months so they could save up enough money to get out on their own. These homes will be not free of charge. They will have to pay a percentage of their income to stay there. Because they did the hard work of getting clean and sober, we knew we could and should help. We applied for a grant and we were awarded $1.3 million to move this project forward. It will be professionally landscaped and professionally managed by the San Joaquin Housing Authority. In closing, there are hopeful signs in the Lodi budget. This fiscal year closed at $3.4 million over our reserve target. You might ask, how can that be during these economic times? Well, part of the reason is Measure L outperformed its estimates by $1.4 million. Some of the reasons are we received Measure L money, all of the Measure L money, through online sales, outside of our area vehicle sales, and the Wayfair decision, online sales had a larger impact than anticipated. Thank you to all who voted for Measure L. My friends, that is hope realized through the hard times in Lodi. Thank you.
Very good, Mr. Mayor. I have some good news for those in the audience and probably for the folks at home too. This is the last time you're going to see me up here. And I have some things to share with you, and I have a request, especially for those here as well as at home. We need your help, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But I thank the mayor. His show and tell slide presentation was perfect. It's not what happens to your city, but it's how your city responds. And you can see that we have all guns blazing. It's exciting. So I want to share with you a little bit about some event sponsors that we haven't talked about yet, very quickly, and then some more information about some businesses that are doing things creatively and different. Okay, more companies with great attitudes. McCullamy River for XX years. Look at that. I think the answer is 59 years. Marina will correct me if I'm wrong. I am. 64. 61. There you go, 61. This organization has served individuals in Lodi and has grown to service all San Joaquin County. It started in the desk drawer of a gentleman by the name of Vic Marcourt, who worked for General Mills. Vic was a great guy. And so our next sponsor is Fairmont Rehabilitation Hospital. This is an award-winning hospital focused on rehabilitating those people that we love here in Lodi, our family members and our friends. They're a leader in their industry, a long-time asset in the community, and when I say multi-award winning, that goes on for years. Our next company that we like to highlight and say thank you to is new in Lodi, and we have a gentleman from Children's Choice here with us tonight, and we are excited about them. They're a brand new organization. They are winning over kids and their parents left and right with their quality care and their professionalism. The company is positioned very well to grow and add services, and they specialize in helping services for special needs kids. And so always a great place for that in our hearts. So thank you. And next, we have Suncrest Bank. This is our last sponsor. We want to thank them. Their spirit of community service is great. We couldn't have done the Choices program at the end of 2019 without their support and their help of their employees coming out and volunteer, helping those 8th graders make better choices. Their client services, their financial expertise is excellent in every measure. And so their business is booming as a result of that. And for that, we're thankful. And so a few closing great stories and then the request. Luster Cow here in Lodi, a label company who made a profitable pivot by making face shields and plexiglass counter barriers. Several wineries here locally making their first vintage of hand sanitizer. How about that? Gary's Signs, a longtime business, improved on the piece of duct tape that we see stuck on the floor that intuitively told people to stand here. Okay, not very creative, not very pretty, and rolled up on the edges. But Gary and his partner Robin created a colorful, professional, inexpensive oval that sticks to anything. In fact, if you were at the farmer's market any this year, you probably stood on some of those waiting to be helped. The Chamber gave away over 300 of those discs. We have also distributed over 10,000 reusable masks and over 500 kits with masks and hand sanitizers, which were available to this audience here tonight. We still have some of both, and so whoever you are, in the sound of my voice, come on down to the Chamber. We have some masks for you if your organization needs them. So, beyond that, our website has been a repository of everything to get you by in the year of 2020 and COVID. 50 different posts with over hundreds of links that have everything in terms of financial aid, open packets, reopened packets by different industries, all the different protocols, do's and don'ts, public health notices, templates for signs, all kinds of things. I think it's the best repository of what you need to survive 2020 that I have seen in Lodi. But this is what I've been waiting to ask you. Some Lodi businesses have partnered with the Chamber to grow new jobs in Lodi. The mayor mentioned that. And I want to ask you tonight to play an important role in helping us grow our local economy with more high-paying jobs. And so we have a website called Grow in Lodi. There's the address. So if you people want to write this down, www.growinlodi.com, or those at home, if you can write this down, we're going to show you a 1-minute video clip in just about a minute, and then we'll be done. But why is now a good time to talk about growing a business in Lodi? We're after job creators in the Bay Area. We think there's never been a better time to bring businesses from the Bay Area to Lodi. We want to educate them on that Lodi is a great small community, not only in which to work, but which to live. And we are giving people a way out of jammed freeway commutes, reducing higher operating costs, lower housing costs for their employees. You know, all that 10% of the life stuff that you want to get out from under, okay? Introducing them to a quality of life that they would probably desire, spending more time with their kids instead of looking at bumpers on stop-and-go freeways. Lodi is such a deal for living and working, such a deal. And this new website shows and tells the advantages that Lodi offers. I'm going to share with you just a small fraction of the website. Please check it out and share it with someone that you know who works in the Bay Area, especially if they are an officer in a company or if they are an owner. Send them the link, growinlodi.com. Just share the screen. So there are many videos on this particular website that I'm talking about, but we'll close tonight with a 1-minute video. It's on the home page of the Grow in Lodi site. And so, Gary, if you can bring that up, and at home, if you've got your volume controls, turn up the sound. You can crank it up too, Gary. Love that video. It is Lodi through and through, and it makes me proud, like I started off the evening, to be representing this community for many good reasons. I want to thank again you folks for attending here live, and your sponsorships, and others that we've mentioned tonight, and those that we haven't mentioned, like my two favorite staff people at the Chamber of Commerce. Karen Alvarez, our operations director, and Marina Navarte, our membership director, are here tonight, and they helped put this together. And then also one of our great ambassadors, Lindy Bomberger. So thank you, ladies, for helping facilitate tonight. And thank you all for being here, and thank you all for tuning in at home. So with that, good night.